Greetings, colleagues. We continue our working day. Traditionally, we have Skype from Mariupol, and we have Galina Odnorog and head of Gromadske TV Pryazovya in Perkova, and they will inform us about the situation about Shyrokyne. Iryna, we hear us well, yes. The floor is yours. Good morning, colleagues. Thank you very much to Ukrainian Media Center for this. For you providing the ground for Mariupol to be heard in the capital. Now we can invited Galina. She's a very active volunteer, and she goes to the front line. She knows all the units of voluntary battalions and also all armed forces. And during the last days, the situation around Shyrokyne and other villages is very. There is escalation there. She was one of the volunteers who initiated non-stop strike of volunteers. We have a tent city, and it's about an area against the demilitarization of Shyrokyne and a number of other meetings. So Galina will tell you why that was done and what is happening around Mariupol. Good morning, good afternoon. I would like to tell you the goal of our protest and actions is to inform for the whole world that we want peace. We don't want Minsk agreements. We don't want a ceasefire because we hear the violation of abuse of Minsk agreements every day. Maybe you don't hear them in Kyiv or in Lviv or abroad, but we hear them in our city quite well. For a year, we live in expectation of some attack, and every day of an offense, and there are military activities every day. And several weeks ago, I came from Kyiv, and we went. We had a photo exhibition about that ceasefire in the eyes of Mariupol, that we are against the demilitarization of Shyrokyne, and several days. They started to tell us about the demilitarization of Shyrokyne, and also we got information that they would pull out all volunteer battalions. Unfortunately, last night we were at the funeral of one soldier from Cherkasy region. He was 37. He died 2 days ago in Shyrokyne. And on my Facebook page I wrote that I would like to see the eyes of that general. Yesterday there were Marines with me, and who gave that order, and about that unclear rotation, not clear for anyone. So the guys were brought, and we don't have nothing against Marines. They are defenders. We volunteers don't care. We're civilians, whether it's battalions, National Guards, or Marines, volunteer battalions. We understand that everywhere there are mobilized volunteers and on contract, and we just know our battalions, which were here for half a year, holding these positions, and they stood for these positions. They defended Shyrokyne, and that's very important for our city. They stood for defended all the positions. We know about the real war there. There is more war there about using small groups, reconnaissance. Why did they pull out all the military men who were there for half a year, just there to bring in just completely new, fresh guys who were just trained for several months somewhere, but they have not participated in any battle? You could do that a little bit in a different fashion. You could bring the Marines, and you could keep the battalions that were here. Those guys who were there for a year, they learned all the positions. They knew every bush, every tree, every house, and in half a year they lived through all of that. Because we see that, we remember February and March, and how many dead were there, and how many wounded were there, how many perished, and we know that our military men were there during the last months without losses. Because why? Because they knew all the positions, and so this rotation This is absolutely not clear to anyone. We asked the general, we asked general, so we asked the governor. So they in Kyiv decided that volunteers are pulling back, and okay, you decided, but you could keep for some time. You could keep them for some time for those volunteers to train our military men to hold those positions, and then the situation would be quite different, and they would be more confident, and they wouldn't commit mistakes or less mistakes, because these mistakes are fatal. The day before yesterday, it costed life. It was brought to fatality.
That is why we have organized this event that we are against. Yesterday night I left Shyrokyne and I heard there were shellings going on. So we would like to state to the whole world, so that our city Mariupol is heard, that there's no ceasefire. Every day there are military actions going on. In Kiev it's different. They give just information about how many people were killed, how many were wounded, but the life goes on. There are concerts, festivals, presentations going on. But here in Donetsk and Lugansk region, there's war. There is a real war going on. And we want this war to be stopped. It continues for 2 years, and that's why we put the tents over there. I was sad that it's not really topical, demilitarization of Shyrokyne. Yes, that's true, but it is also important for us to demilitarize the borders of Ukraine. Only when Russians take away their equipment, their troops, when they leave our borders, then we will lock our borders, and only then we will have peace. But with our so-called terrorist organizations, DNR and LNR in our country, we will cope ourselves, and that is why we are organizing all these protests. When will you remove the tents? Do you have some final objective when you will remove the tents? We do not know. On Monday we will have the assembly, which yesterday Duka, a warrior, Vitaly Telezhenko, was killed. He is one of the organizers of the protest in Kiev in support of Shyrokyne, and he called me, he wrote to me on Facebook, he was asked questions. You should better not organize meetings, but you should go and fight. And he was just smiling. He came from the war to explain to Kiev that there's war going on. And 2 days ago they left Kiev, and yesterday he perished defending our city. We see that there's no demilitarization, there could be no ceasefire, no truce with the terrorists. We need to name what's taking place. Russia is the country aggressor. We need to demand that Russia takes away their troops and equipment from the territory of Ukraine, and no one, not a single country in the world, signs any agreements with the enemy. People from other cities came to the meeting. Can you say a few words about that? I wrote on a Facebook, I requested all the patriots of Ukraine to react to that. Many people, many volunteers. I know personally, we help them to go to our warriors, to the front line, and people who come here, they see how our city lives. not just our city, how all cities and towns in Donetsk region live. And that is why people reacted and they supported us. People from Odessa arrived, from Kherson, from Melitopol, from Kharkov. Also, there were meetings held in Nikolaev, Kharkiv, Kiev, supporting people of Mariupol, and they were against the militarization of Shyrokyne. We want to explain to the whole world that we want peace, but not truce, not ceasefire, not just ceasefire. I believe this is all. I would like to add 2 more people were killed that night and 7 were wounded. That is the situation around Shyrokyne. Thank you, Iryna. Thank you, Galina. Now the questions. Please introduce yourselves. UCMC. In this tent camp, what is the situation? How many people are there? And who's taking care of you? Maybe some representatives of authorities or some businessmen are supporting you. Talking about local authorities, no one is supporting us. We are helped by volunteer organizations of the city, Batkivshina Молода Party. In a day, we have several hundreds people. We are talking. I would like to thank Donbas Battalion because they put their guards there, and in the daytime the guys are talking to local citizens. Children come, people come, and they tell them about what is the situation in reality, because many people do not understand what's happening. We have collected more than 2,000 signatures against demilitarization. Every day people come and they sign and they ask. They say, where are you gathering signatures against war? That is the situation.
I would like to add that we had a very interesting thing, and when we opened this tent city, suddenly about 10 people came with a picket, and on the posters was a supporter to the demand to demilitarize Shyrokyne. All those people, we know them. They are the people who were in Georgian ribbons when we had a dinner in our city, and because there was a group of them, the elderly people, and they were getting around the city council. Nobody was dispersing them, and that was a opposition to our tent town. They stood for demilitarization. They support the president, and I don't know. I'm not sure that somebody. I don't think that somebody gave them that idea, but that's how it worked. And colleague journalists, more questions? Very short questions. Shyrokyne, Agency Monin Forum. Thank you, Galina and Iryna, for your courageous position. And some men should learn from you. Here's the question. I was informed by my friends from Mariupol that in some units there are no vegetables, fruits. So it's a resort, almost a resort there, and it's a season. Some of the units are financed well and provided well, including with the assistance of volunteers. How to do it? That those who don't have that attention of volunteers, how they can be provided better with the help of local administrations, with local authorities, and of course headed by volunteers like you. Around Mariupol we have many thousands army, and in the budget of MOD they don't have such things as vegetables and fruits. And again, we cannot provide for the whole army. In the budget of the city we have means of our deputies and special from taxpayers and for ATO, but as a priority to buy watermelon or to strengthen fortification, they invest in fortifications. So everything is depends on assistance of volunteers and residents, or people who come and they help. So a lot of assistance comes from other cities, and our task of volunteer organizations, some of them are just are working on logistics and address such a problem, but we cannot resolve it completely. Galina is right. In fact, they are missing not only fruits and vegetables, but also water, and so we deliver water to the front line. In addition to that, we maintain equipment free of charge and try to provide all spare parts and also fuel chargers, thermal visors. So they have a lot of needs in addition to fruits and vegetables. So that's necessary for life. We cannot cover everything. Thank you, Iryna. Thank you, Galina. We'll finish our Skype communication. The day of tomorrow will be the next one, and thanks again, and